Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Gaming with me, Tony Mo, and we're here today to talk a little bit about Overwatch. I felt that it was absolutely necessary as someone who actively plays Overwatch to talk about the brand new Overwatch update. Of course, Sombra coming into the fray. We've got a brand new hero. We've got some new locations through the arcade mode, and of course, we've got some new game modes. That's really what I wanted to talk about today. We're going to talk about Sombra towards the end. We'll talk about some of the changes, but I wanted to focus on the 1v1 mode and the 3v3 mode that are now available in the arcade playlist. Honestly, both of these modes really mix up the typical Overwatch experience. They put a lot of confinements and restraints on the player, and they force you to think about how you deploy a hero or a certain set of heroes in a completely different way. And I love when games really force us to, look at something that we've become so comfortable with. Look at a certain hero, look at a certain set of heroes, and then ask us to find completely new ways to be successful with them. And that's basically what 1v1 and 3v3 does. So the 1v1 mode is random, and both people playing are going to get the exact same hero. So you're going to have like Genji versus Genji and Hanzo versus Hanzo. Now I will admit, there are certain heroes that in my opinion just don't function that well in a 1v1 setting like this. A really sterile, confined 1v1 setting. There's nothing else going on. Reaper versus Reaper, Roadhog versus Roadhog. They end up being games of who lands first. And I guess that's a strategy within itself. We can't deny that. But it's not my favorite type of way to experience a first-person shooter. The idea that I just have to make sure I get the first hook here. I have to make sure that I get the first shot in with Reaper. There are opportunities, of course, to counter that stuff. You can use your healing with Roadhog. So it's not all bad. I think there's always some additional layer to the heroes, even in that 1v1 clone setting, where you can do something to counter the situation, but it's less so with certain heroes. Now, there are also heroes like Torbjorn and Symmetra that focus really heavily on defense, obviously. Using her turrets and using his turret. Interestingly enough, in my time with 1v1, the idea of just sitting back and camping wasn't actually that strong of a move. I actually saw a lot of success with Torbjorn via making pushes, actually getting in, sneakily trying to eliminate the other player's turret, and then setting up my turret and, really chasing them into it. And it was the same thing with Symmetra. There's a bit of a mind game going on. So sitting back and defending isn't as powerful as you think it might be. So at the end of the day, 1v1 is a lot of fun. And like I said, it really puts you in this odd, sterile environment where you're going to 1v1 with some of your favorite heroes. You might be the ultimate Genji, but how often do you really go up against another Genji without any other distractions, without any other support, or without any other defense on his side? So it's a fun feeling. It's something new. It definitely feels fresh, and I think it lets you think about the heroes in a way that you may not have thought about them before. So, good mode. Not always fun, occasionally frustrating, but I will definitely play it from time to time. Let's talk 3v3. This is honestly, to me, the best thing about arcade. It's forcing you to select 3 heroes. So you could consider going with the Holy Trinity. You could do a healer, you could do a tank, you could do an attack. But that might not always work. You might need to switch up between rounds even. You might look at your team's current setup and say, we won the first 2 rounds with Soldier, Mercy, and Roadhog, but they switched. They've got a Bastion now, and they've got a McCree who's stunning us. So what do we do to counter this? Do we simply change our tactics with these 3, or do we alter our roster to compete against them? It's a really good mode. It really genuinely is. It may seem very bare bones, but the idea that it's just, one life, last man standing, and that you're able to switch heroes round after round, it leaves this level of randomness for the other team, and of course for you. You don't know what they're going to pick. They don't know what you're going to pick, so you're constantly making decisions on whether or not this roster worked. Will this roster work the next time? Will they pick the same roster they just picked? They're winning. Will they keep pushing for that? Should we change? Should we change our tactics? It's actually a really competitive experience. And even solo queuing with randoms, I had a lot of fun. Again, like any competitive mode, there's plenty of room for frustration, and I strongly recommend playing it with 2 other friends, or at least 1 other friend. But nonetheless, I had a really good time with it. And once again, that theme, putting you in an environment that you haven't been in before with Overwatch, and really asking you to solve problems, to solve the situation, to beat the other team to come out on top. You're really going to be opened, at least you should, open your eyes up to a whole new set of tactics. And I think long-term, that's going to make you a better Overwatch player when it comes to the typical quick play and competitive game modes. And that's pretty cool. There's no denying that. Let's talk a little bit about Sombra. I haven't had the opportunity to spend an excessive amount of time with her. I've gotten in maybe 30, 40 minutes with her. Some of the stuff in 3v3 and very little stuff actually out in quick play. Here's the thing, though. Here's my initial thoughts on Sombra and her position on the battlefield. She feels in a lot of ways like Tracer and Ana, in that she's a very specific hero that can excel in very specific situations. Like Tracer, she requires a lot of mobility for survival, so making use of her stealth or cloaking ability, which also increases movement speed, and her teleportation device, that's really what's going to keep you out of the fray, alive, and able to continue to engage targets, to hack things for your team, so on and so forth. But much like Ana, she feels very complex. There's a lot going on with her. You're using her stealth, you're using her hack, you're using her teleportation device. So mixing all of those things together in a really fluid manner and making sure that you're in the right place at the right time to avoid death and to see success, that feels like Ana to me. You know, Ana's without a doubt a super powerful support and healer, but she requires a player that can focus on every asset that makes her function. And then taking those assets and really putting them into play on a moment-to-moment basis. That's what Sombra feels like to me. In a 1v1 environment, super low health, there's a lot of people that are going to shred her. But much like Tracer, if you can utilize her mobility, you have the opportunity to slowly eat away at that person's health. It's going to be more difficult if you're dealing with someone like Roadhog, who can constantly heal himself, because while she's making her escape, Roadhog's healing. I think there are certain situations in which she will not be able to succeed without the support of her team. But you don't have to go around and just kill people all day long. You know, the thing about Tracer is that she doesn't always have to focus on just shredding the enemy completely and going for kills. She can sometimes just be a backdoor harass character. And that, at the end of the day, you know, can be just as powerful as a 76 who just cleans up everyone on the battlefield. That harassment can lead to a lot of kills and cleanups for your team, a lot of team wipes for the enemy team from your team. You know, and I think she'll be really powerful in that same way. But this is just my early thoughts. It's going to be interesting to see how people start to play her at a, you know, really high level, when people start to get really good with her, what it's like to have to deal with her as a player on the enemy team, how we're going to be able to counter her. There's so much to learn and see about her as time goes on and as we see her fill into the roster. I'm honestly really hopeful that, much like Ana, a lot of people can't play her because she's too challenging, so I can play her. Because I really like her. I like the time that I've spent with her, and I love high mobility heroes like Tracer. I love multitasking heroes. They make me feel like I'm always engaged, I'm always doing something. And at the end of the day, the fun factor is just really high for heroes like that. So here's to hoping that I get to play a lot of Sombra in the near future. Now, some other small changes, of course. Quick play, hero stacking completely removed. One of the best decisions Blizzard's ever made. Myself, my squad, for Overwatch, we've talked about this for months. We've wanted it gone. Hero stacking provides no additional layer of competition or fun to the Overwatch experience, in my opinion. It removes one of the most important aspects of Overwatch, which is team composition, and instead allows people to simply stack one hero in the hopes that the other team won't do what is necessary to counter and claim victory. That's not fun. It might be fun for the team doing it, thinking, oh, this is so fun. But from an actual gameplay and a competitive perspective, it's not fun. And I'm so damn glad it's gone. Blizzard, keep on kicking butt, man. You're making Overwatch better every single day. This is still one of my all-time favorite first-person shooters. I play it every weekend for a good reason. And I would love to hear what you guys have to say about the new update. Have you had the opportunity to spend some time with Sombra? What do you think of her? What are your first impressions? And how do you feel about the new modes inside of the arcade cabinet? 1v1 or 3v3? Which one's your favorite? Do you hate them, love them? Let me know all of that and more down in the comments section below. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Boop.